Welcome to the Tone Jerks podcast. I'm your host, Brian Gower, and with me today, a little different. Kyle's not here, so don't shut off your devices just yet. I have a guest co-host from the very second episode 2. So now he's back, episode 89.
Nice.
It took us that long to get him to come back. And buddy, BJ Jezbera, local musician, a good buddy of mine. We've been friends for a while.
Hello, Tone Jerks.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. You have done an episode just for our Patreon people. So it was like maybe a month, maybe a year ago. You did like a catch up, what's new with you, and we did stuff like that. But I figure we should get you on the main episode, feed here.
You've been on my podcast too, which is only really for the YouTube algorithm bots. But
yeah, so as most people, if you haven't gone back to listen to that first episode, it's a good one. It was actually rough, mainly on my part, because I didn't really know how to host or talk to anybody on mic. I was like, oh jeez.
And he was starstruck. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, we had mentioned in that episode, BJ is kind of one of the reasons why I started a podcast of my own. Friends have inspired me to be like, hey, you should do it. And BJ was like, well, I'll kind of just have you on my show. And his words of advice are just to do it. Put it out. Who cares who listens to it? And you do whatever you want and you'll learn along the way. And so good or bad, he's very responsible for this Tone Jerks being a thing. So enough of that. BJ, you are a local musician. You play a lot of gigs. You're a gigging musician. That's actually your career. That's actually what you do to bring home the bacon.
Yep.
So we'll kind of touch a little bit on that. But yeah, how have you been? What's new? What's new in your world? What's shaking? What's grooving?
New in the world. Well, I think the way I do things, it's like I don't try to shake the tree too much. So I'm still doing a lot of regular gigs at a lot of the same places, Tipsy Crow, and I've added Himmelberg's and a couple places down here in the South Bay as well.
Yeah.
But I'm
downtown
mainly,
San Diego is kind of your...
Yeah, I just try to keep it pretty regular. But what's new, I would say, is I am continuing to work on this upcoming album that's been, kind of in the works for a few years now. But everybody always says it's been in the works for a few years, but if you're not physically working on it, I don't consider you working on it. So
it's been paused.
The thought process is not part of the work in my mind. So it's been on hold for a while, but I'm actually getting back into it, like putting the work into it. I've got the ideas and now I'm just trying to execute. So been working a lot of recording with different studios and stuff and people, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah,
you have recorded with Shantali.
Correct.
And so with him,
of Clarity Recordings,
good buddy of ours. He was on a while ago, but yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool that local friends are helping everybody out and going to different studios and
it's nice that that's ability now, because remember when we started, like maybe 4 or 5 people you knew had recording stuff. Of those people, maybe one had the space to record like full band, and that one guy usually did not have the ability, like the technical savvy to record a full band. So it's like they had like the stuff, but they didn't really know how to use it yet. So now everybody's kind of got it.
Not as trustworthy.
The ratios have evened out a little bit. More people have it, and more people know how to use it, which is nice.
Yeah. But no, that's cool. He's also a good brain to pick. So if you have questions about recording and stuff like that. So no, that's it's good. So besides, playing locally, I wanted to say you've been kind of doing that pretty regularly from when episode 2, it's like you were talking about trying to get more consistency in your gigs. But it seems like for you, you're doing many gigs a month, but it's kind of very sporadic, but you are becoming a regular at places, which it seems like you're kind of reaching for that goal that you had.
Yeah, I feel like the bread and butter stuff for me personally, I'm not trying to be the world's biggest punk band or anything, I'm just trying to be a working musician. So I'm just trying to have a few spots that I can call home that'll be like the safety net, but I still continue to try adding new places all the time and out of San Diego, trying to get out. And you kind of have to do that because eventually bars close and eventually things change. So the more places you have kind of in your pocket, and if you're not afraid of a little distance, that's what's going on. So I think with my booking stuff, I'm trying to reach a little bit more out of San Diego now that I've got a few regular San Diego places. But just trying to keep it semi-regular is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Is that, are you finding it's easier, the fact that you have spots that are, I don't know, that are regular, that you're like, oh, I'm consistently playing here and out in this area?
It gives me a little bit of a peace of mind for sure to have a spot that I know, okay, I got 4 a month,
Yeah.
Where it's not like I'm trying to book all my shows every time. Like sometimes if I like fuck around and don't book, or if I, you know, just have a very unlucky month and haven't booked anything, like nobody responds or whatever, like I'll have somewhere to play and I'm going to eat this month.
Yeah, yeah, you usually might just have to be some ramen and
Yeah.
the month. But you also like, I mean, what I was getting at is like having spots that you're consistently playing and that you're like, oh, I'm out there doing it. And you're like, I'm getting these paid gigs. I'm here downtown at these bars. I'm like, why don't you book me at your bar? It's like you kind of have a little bit more clout. Does that help, or is it
not really? I mean,
agents, they kind of just like,
booking is booking
bro.
across the board, and booking people typically just don't answer emails and don't care about the bands they're booking. Like, that's the fucking monster that we all have to, you know, worship, I guess, at the altar of. But
or they'll book a show last minute and wonder how come nobody showed up.
I think the difference will be, and I'm not at that level yet, but I feel like if I get to that point, this is where I'll notice a difference when venues start reaching out to me, you know, like that's cool. When you start to see like, okay, booking is easy, but like when you're still reaching out to bars and you're still reaching out to whatever, they don't care what bar you play at. They're like, well, we're better or we're different, or they don't even know what that bar is. Like I put it in my booking email all the time. Like I am a resident musician at this place. And if I send that to some place that's outside of San Diego, they're like, definitely not going to know that bar. But I could send that to the people that are neighbors to those bars, and they'd be like,
don't care.
That place doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that's, it's interesting because I'm not a musician, working muso. I'm not one of those. We play in our band once a month. We play, you know, originals, and, that is a completely different market where people will be like, you'll be happy to get like $100.
Yeah, but you get a little bit more word of mouth, I think, in the regular circuit and in the like band circuit. You know, with bands, it's always going to get people's attention, A, because they're loud, but B, because like when people think of like live original music, they think of bands. They don't typically think of that acoustic guy playing in the corner of the bar.
Yeah, they're going to
because those guys are all just convoluting the fucking circuit with just No Diggity and Wagon Wheel fucking on repeat. So it's hard for a guy that wants to break into an original acoustic circuit in San Diego, because there's no like, unless you're going to play Lestats, and sorry to shit on Lestats, but the way you get booked there is not a road of easiness, especially if you're an already regular gigging musician and they tell you to play the open mic where it's a fucking raffle to get in. It's like, I'm not gonna like go through so many hoops just for like a nothing gig. So
just for a gig that's you could play in front of at Tower Bar in front of nobody if you wanted to.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, you kind of have to shift your viewpoint a little bit.
Acoustic I would see would be really difficult because you gotta, I don't know, because it's much easier to book a band and pay them $40 to play in front of like hardly anybody, or even if it's like a Friday, I'm like, hey, we'll give you guys $100, and it's like, you know, 80 people at this bar, and we'll give you, you know, beers or whatever, because most people would rather go out, you know, and say like, oh, see a local band or whatever. But even though an acoustic artist could actually be better and actually works better for sometimes like some bars, because like, oh, you can talk and order food and hang out and watch an acoustic band artist, whereas you see like a heavy punk band, heavy rock band come in with their half stacks and shit like that. You're like, cool. You
can't really do much else than listen. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And also when you're playing, you're hitting up different types of shows. You're not going to go try and like book a paid gig at Soda Bar or Casbah or something like that. Whereas like to me, I'm like, a place we always want to play is Soda Bar, Casbah, stuff like that, because it's like we're not going to get paid for it well, but there's going to be people there.
Right.
And
I do try to do those shows, and I have actually played both of those places.
Yeah, and
but typically I'll mix up what I'm doing. I won't do the cover show there.
Yeah.
So that's why I have different forms of the band. I've got the solo acoustic thing. That's just kind of like the workhorse of what I do. But then if I'm going to play somewhere like the Casbah or whatever, I've got the full band with the electric guitar and full drums, or I've got the folk trio with the cajon and acoustic guitar still. But it kind of fills out the room a little more. And the originals kind of take a different life when there's a band behind them.
With the punk band.
Because I record them all with like backing music. It's not just like straight acoustic stuff. Yeah. So it's still like very like punk infused.
Very band mindset when you approach your music. But you can be like, okay, I can also take this away and it's still stripped to be acoustic and vocals.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, whatever hat I wear, it'll be a good one. Very stylish.
Yeah, sometimes it sounds better full band, and I admit that, but you know, it's just kind of like you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then people aren't listening anyway, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Your full band is with Ivan. He's a very much our our buddy Ivan, he's like been a guitarist for one of your old bands. He's drums for your band now, and for the pop punk stuff. And it's like he's a heavy hitting drummer, so your songs definitely take a huge turn when you do a distorted electric guitar and add it heavy hitting drums. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And then Brian on bass.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it's cool. It's kind of cool to hear a song 3 different ways. But
and then with the folk trio, don't want to leave them out. We got Indy on cajon. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because everybody that plays in the Bad Mother Folkers, that's what I call them, they're all way better guitar players than me, but I don't let them play guitar. My friend Indy on the cajon, he's the one that actually like got me into guitar. He taught me like damn it, like everybody's friend does, and I got to play his electric guitar and fell in love with it from there. Ivan was the like first serious band that I played in where like the guitar player was fucking like just on point, and like he was doing things that like I take those tricks and use them in my music today. So like a lot of what I do and a lot of my sound kind of comes from playing with him. Brian, he's been in several like metal bands and like he's a little bit older than us, so he's been in a different scene, like when like the real like screamo, post-hardcore, emo stuff was coming big. He was in that circuit.
When it was coming up in San Diego, yeah.
So he's got like real good guitar chops. But yeah, all 3 of them are really great instruments. They're all really great musicians with their instruments. But I make them play something completely different, which is hilarious to me.
Well, hey, you're the one pulling the reins there. You want
when people come and compliment me on my guitar in front of them, I'm like, please don't tell me I'm good. Stop.
Like, they're gonna bring this up later.
Yeah.
Nice, cool. Well, I have a couple things that are for my what's new. One thing I wanted to bring up is SoundRise Pro. We linked up with those guys, and they sent us. So their product that they have, you check them out on Instagram, SoundRise Pro, and they have these studio monitor stands for your desk. And one thing that's kind of cool for like a home studio, because most of us aren't going to have a huge room and tons of space to spread out and like get the air room, man, and like worry about your acoustics and I'm like,
yeah,
no, that's not going to happen. And so what I have a bedroom set up. It's a very small desk. I think it's about 4 feet wide, which is like, that's a good amount of space, but it's taken up a lot of the space by a 4-space SKB rack, rolling rack that I have my interface in. I have power supply, XFX and stuff like that. So in case I need to pick that up and go somewhere, it's already like, I don't have to like jumble a bunch of shit.
Which you make it sound so easy, but those things are like 100,000 pounds.
And also it's like, so much of the desk space is taken up. And so I barely have any room for, studio monitors. So think of like, I have HS5s from Yamaha right now. And so when you're recording and you're listening back to your mix and stuff like that, you want your monitors about ear level, and you kind of want them pointed at certain degrees, pointed towards your ears. Because like if you point them away, if they're aimed at your shoulders or they're aimed at the ground or whatever, at opposite walls, you're going to get reflections and stuff like that, sympathetic notes, and be like, oh, a little different bass response. So I'll make it super bass heavy. And then you listen back, on MP3 or whatever, and you're like, this is like all just because you didn't hear any bass. So I was like, I was kind of struggling with my desk space, and I'm like, whatever. And I was just scrolling through the Instagram, and I saw these really cool speaker monitor stands. They're made in the US. They're out of LA, and it's such a simple design that I'm all like, it's brilliant. Oh my God. People, you could look at it and be like, I could make that. I'm like, are you going to make that? No. So they raise up your monitors about 9 inches. So for me, that kind of worked out because of where I'm sitting at my desk, and between using the Samsung TV and my laptop for monitors and stuff like that, it's like kind of the perfect work area. It's like pointed right to my ears. And so I was researching them. We talked to, back and forth, and they sent Kyle and I a pair of these because he researched it and instantly fell in love with the idea because he has a similar situation with his computer build that he's doing. He's doing more of a synth setup, and it's like monitors at the appropriate level, and you get extra
space. Make all the difference too.
And I kind of already took advantage of it. Like BJ, you could probably see I have everything's stacked up underneath these speakers now. It's all like, oh, I have my like preamps, I have my different cloud activators, and
yeah, which is nice because otherwise that stuff would all be in your hand space, basically. Like looking at his setup, like if that stuff was to come forward, it would be replacing wherever a mouse might be or a keyboard.
yeah,
So-
and so, or they would have to be put away in the closet. So every time I wanted to use, hard drive or my DI boxes or something like that, I had to like like hook them back up and like, okay, cool, I got to put them away now.
Yeah.
And it's like anything that like prohibits workflow is just a pain in the ass. You want to be able to just come in, work, and
I don't know about you, but I like to display all my toys. So
Yeah.
like if I have like a cool new pedal or something, I'm gonna like make sure that it's out on my desk. Like that way I'm also more likely to use it. Because if it's put away, I'm definitely not gonna be like, I want to go clean all this stuff up. Like,
yeah, and
it's nice to have it.
So I mean, these things are very fucking cool. So check out soundrisepro.com and you can use a promo code jerks. You can get 15% off
Just for being a jerk.
Oh yeah, just check them out. I cannot post enough or talk enough about these because I'm going to post them in the group and we'll post them on the page. It is such a simple idea, and to me, like I love the simple ideas that just fucking work. I'm like, brilliant, goddamn genius. Because my space is just very compact and it's not great, but you have to make it work. What am I going to do? Like
They also look pretty like sturdy. That's the thing is like when you get to see the pictures of them or you go check them out yourself, you'll see that they're like a really like thin, sleek design, but it doesn't look like it's made out of like plastic that's going to like eventually sag from the weight of your monitors. These are made out of metal, right?
They are made out of metal, and they hold most up to 5-inch speakers. So if you have giant 10-inch or 8-inch speakers, they won't work for it. So,
I can't put my 15-watt bass amp on it.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're going to work on bigger ones, but these are perfect for like, because most home studios and small garage spaces or whatever people are doing, you're not going to want a giant monitor setup anyways, because it's like, why?
Yeah, I don't think it would make a difference in a good direction. I think it would make probably worse.
Yeah, it's like you're not getting this room that we're in is pretty fucking small. But anyways, they're great design. They save you space, and then it gets your monitors where they need to be. It gives you more space for preamps and anime figures and all that good stuff. So anyways, we'll post a picture in the link and check it out on Instagram, Soundrise Pro.
It also looks like it's the perfect height to put tall cans underneath. Perfect.
Oh my God. Thank you. We got one of those Modelo Chelados.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
It fits right underneath. Oh my God. Jesus Christ, BG, that was perfect. So all you tall cans.
That's a selling point right there.
I mean, when you're done throwing them in the air, you put them underneath the Sound Pro. Soundrise Pro. Anyways, besides that, for the studio, I did get another boring piece of gear. I bought a
Nothing is boring.
Monster Power power supply. So it's like a power conditioner for my recording setup. So it's Monster Power Pro 2500. We have one of these in Kyle's bass amp setup. So the SVT3 is everything's plugged and his tuner are all plugged into this Monster Power Pro 2500. Found it on Reverb for a really good price. Like I was like, I could buy a Furman for like $300 or $200 or whatever. I'm like,
That's a lot of chiladas.
Yeah. But I found one used because I don't think Monster makes them anymore, and I really have had nothing but good things to say, and we've played it, and it's really great, reliable power, clean power, whatever. And because what I have running here, it's important to me, is the Focusrite Claret and the XFX 2. I don't want to be like, just fuck it. If it surges and just blows up, fuck. No. So, yeah, it works for me. So I got one of these, and I think it's kind of cool because it has cool lights on it, and it shows you the voltage.
I like lights.
So it changes. So we're at about 121 voltage here, and it kind of goes between
121 gigawatts.
121 volts. So that's kind of a boring thing for me, but it ended up being cool. So that's what's new for me. But let's go into one of the reasons why BJ's here. We're going to do an acoustic playing on the air topic. We're going to go through some pedals and through some different DIs, and we're going to hear the differences, if there are any. All right, so through the power of editing, we are into the playing segment of the show. You guys don't know if this was recorded first or last or in the middle. Who knows?
6 years ago, actually.
Could have just not even announced it. But, BJ, you are predominantly an acoustic player. So when you are playing shows, you're either doing it like with like a duo, maybe sometimes you'll get a band together and you'll play electric and distortion in those, and you'll do covers, originals, and stuff like that. But mostly it's you and your acoustic. So you'll roll up to a gig, and obviously you're going to bring your guitar, but what else are in your bag of tricks? So if you roll up and you kind of don't know what the setup is going to be like, what's your kind of
I like a simple setup, because I've learned through the years of many bands that the more stuff you have, the more likely it is to break. And then
more things to go wrong, yeah.
Yeah, it's just more delays during your set, and I like to do just straight playthrough. I don't take breaks. I don't do any of that. So if I have stuff breaking on me, it kind of slows things down.
It's gonna fuck up your mojo there.
That is correct. So I do basically just a loop pedal, the Boss, whatever this is, RC3, the very little one. Mm-hmm. It's not the most basic one. I think the most basic one is a little bit...
The RC2, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little more simple than mine. Mine has the capability to record like 90 loops at once. But it also came preloaded with some drum beats.
Cool.
And some also like pre-recorded like instrumental loops, like little jazzy, bluesy kind of stuff.
You ever bust that out?
All the time, yeah. When I was like, when I was just barely starting to try and fill 3-hour sets, I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to play this jazz loop and go like over it with the guitar. Yeah. But I'm not that much of a soloist, so I've learned just to play more songs.
Also for that looper, it's a Boss pedal, so they're pretty much, for the most part, indestructible. So it kind of works out for a gig. You can kind of set that down. You're not going to be like, it's also not like going to break the bank. Yeah, they're like $100-something, but there's some loopers that go for...
Yeah, this one was like $280.
Okay. Oh, well, shit, that is expensive.
And then I think I got a package for it, though. It was the looper and the power cable, and then it came with like a cable or something I just threw away. But it was like $290 or something.
Okay, that's kind of up there then. But Boss, are they pretty known for I don't know, good pedals that last, and the fact that it also runs on a battery, that's really cool. So in case you're at a gig like we are set up right now, something was faulty with the power in my place, so we were able to run this looper pedal off a battery. So.
And what was the mechanism that we used? Might as well give them a shout out.
Yeah, we mentioned it before, but Bestronics, so BTPA, they have, you just contact Brad and he'll make this for you. It's not on their website. I think he may have put it on there, since it's like this battery adapter thing. Just get a 9-volt and it will just cap that off at the end of the 9-volt and plug it into your pedal, and you can run external power.
You're the only person I've seen with one of these, and I heard about it through you, but every time I see it, I'm like, I need to get one of these.
Just throw one in your case, and in case something happens, like where it's like, oh, this faulty power, this shitty power, but you still want to be able to run your looper. You don't want to like...
Yeah, because I'm the guy that brings 6 sets of strings. I bring a whole pack of batteries with me every time, because like I just know that those things are going to break or die, so I got to have them all.
Yeah. Anyway, so we are... I kind of wanted to bring BJ on because he's an acoustic player, and he does it... Like, I'll play acoustic every once in a while. I haven't played a show in years, but...
I've seen you do it.
Yeah, back in the day. And then recording, I don't do much. Maybe do like a couple like acoustic overdubs. So I'm not a huge...
You're just not sad enough. That's what it is.
Yeah. I like my acoustic, and it sounds great, but I'm just not really doing a whole lot in the band or performing with it. But you do, and you record acoustic guitar, you out there playing. And I kind of wanted to do I don't know, like a pedal, like topic on acoustics, as like when you would use pedals, like why you would use them. Is it even worth a damn?
How you could use them? Because for me, a lot of reasons I don't use pedals is just because I don't know what they are, what they do, or whatever, and I don't want to spend the time to learn that stuff. But now that we got all your fun little toys out here, it'll be cool to kind of hear what the not the limitations, but what the limits are with this thing, like how far we can take an acoustic guitar. I'm interested to see.
Yeah, so the way that we're recording this today, I'm doing 2 tracks. I'm doing one with the 2 notes, XLR out, so it's the 2 notes torpedo cab M. I have impulse response from 3 sounds, so it's a Gibson Hummingbird 15, so it's supposed to sound like, oh, it's a mic'd up in a room acoustic. And then also just going into a DI, which most of the time you're playing venues, it's just going to be like, plug into this and then XLR out into the soundboard.
Yeah, if not, it just goes straight into the soundboard. So I could ask you this, does that make a difference?
I don't know. Normally, most places want an XLR because that's the easiest to plug into a snake to go into their board. it's the right level, stuff like that. So most of the time, they're going to plug into an XLR, or sorry, plug into a DI box, then go to an XLR. We're going to hear the difference in the sound between, just the guitar into the DI, and then the
two tones.
Yeah, the two notes.
Two tones.
Impulse response. So I was trying it out, and there is a bit of difference, but not a whole lot. So you can tell if it's going to be worth it if you like, I want to, step up my acoustic sound at a gig, if it's going to be worth it or not, or you'll be like, fuck it. Nobody's going to give a shit anyways. So we'll have you play through a little bit, and then we'll do the DI with pedals.
Cool.
Okay, so here is your acoustic guitar going into the DI. What kind of guitar are you playing?
This is a Lag Tromatone, I believe, is the name of the style. But yeah, Lag is the company, and it's a French company.
Yeah, it's not too big. It has a cutaway.
It's a Grand Auditorium, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, the model number is T66ACE, so that just means acoustic cutaway electric. But
nice. So kind of works for you. You're digging it.
Yeah.
And so for shows, it's kind of like, you have it all stickered up and stuff like that. So you made it your guitar.
It's definitely like the guitar that I would like take photos with or use in videos and stuff. I do have other guitars that I guess are like, I got a Martin and a Taylor too. That those are the iconic sounds that everybody goes after, and I understand why, because they both have their benefits and stuff. This one, I would say, in the term of like 3-tier quality, it's probably number 3. But I mean, it's a representative of how I approach music anyway. Like, you don't have to always be like
the top, but it also works for your shows.
If you can make it work and you can make it your own, then I'd rather do that than have the same sound everybody else has.
And then it's a workhorse too. You don't have to worry about it. Like,
it's definitely
take this out to a gig, and you're
been rained on, it's been dropped, it's been beer spilled on it, and it still keeps kicking. Where a lot of those nice guitars, people would be crying at this point.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. So that's just the DI.
Very nice.
Nice. And then we'll switch over to the two notes.
Here we go.
Sounds good.
To me, it sounds a little bit less low-endy. Like,
to me, it sounds, well, it might be the headphones. To me, it sounds more...
Yeah, it could definitely be these headphones.
I gave you the shitty $20 headphones.
Like, here, I want you to know what your guitar sounds like.
At
through
the
PC speakers.
Yeah. At the eventually we'll step up the
real thing is for you listeners at home. What do you think? Put it in the comments below.
The second set of headphones at the Tone Jerks lounge, we'll maybe get a better set.
Yeah, if anybody out there listening makes headphones, please send these guys your best,
something
brightest
good
headphones, because they need them.
But no, to me, okay, maybe we'll switch headphones so you can hear the difference. I think it sounds really great, but honestly, both sound good. So,
my goal is to try and make it sound as close to just the natural guitar as I can, because why the hell would you buy an acoustic guitar and then try to make it sound like anything but the guitar that is in front of you, So I got a lot of friends that use a lot of weird like effects and stuff on their guitars. And I'm like, it doesn't even sound like the guitar anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just try to like, even when I'm just leveling things out like high, mids, lows, I'm just mostly trying to go towards the center, so it's like a direct representation of this guitar.
Yeah. And also, it's like when you play live, that's always an experience. It's always its own sound. You're not trying to be like, sounds, consistent every time. Like, it might be the goal, and I say that for myself because that's what I'm trying to do for my band. But it's like, I don't know.
That's what I try to do. I just try to have one sound that I know, like, this is what I sound like, this is what I can do, and this is where I'll take it everywhere. But
so I use the two notes for cab. Like, so instead of having to mic my amp, I'll have that go and do a speaker simulation out. So it's like every time I play, it's the same, setup. It sounds like a Marshall 412 no matter where I play.
Mm-hmm.
They plug into that and it will sound like that. And then my amp that I bring on stage, I can bring a little 1x12, and it's just enough for me to hear.
And then you don't even have to mic it because it's like a line out, right?
Yeah, line out. And then so to me, I think that's kind of cool, but it's also like other people that can be just like, I don't give a fuck.
That also takes away the element of like a unexperienced sound guy or something trying to mic an amp, because not everybody knows how to do it. I certainly don't know how to do it correctly, but wherever you go, you're going to get a mic in a different spot. So your amp is going to sound different through speakers just based on how the mic is placed. So having a direct out like that is probably better.
Before we go to the effects on acoustic, which I think will be a little bit more fun than just the two. These are two ways you could input the guitar from XLR. Let's just have you play a little bit, and I'll just switch so people can hear the difference.
For sure. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, go for it.
Go for it.
There's a little bit of a difference, and then when we listen back, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, cool. Whatever. Nice stuff you got there. So we will go into the effects stuff. So first you have your looper pedal here.
Yeah.
And then that's going into Pelican Noiseworks half horse fuzz, and it's going into the Southampton utility knife.
Now I would say the way that I normally would string these, because we got it backwards. We got the loop is the first thing. So if you run this, anybody out there who wants to experience with loopers and effects, put the looper last, because
so you can stack all your stuff.
Exactly. If you want to have like a distortion track and then play clean over it, you can't have the distortion first, because everything is going to record distorted onto the distortion pedal. So if we loop something, it'll be just straight, but then we're going to play with the fun little soundy sounds.
Yeah. Okay, so and then we have the just MXR Carbon Copy Mini and the Wampler Spring reverb, the mini faux reverb. So just kind of get like a little bit like you don't really use effects on acoustic when you play. You use the looper and then plug in.
Yeah, I'll do the looper, and then if the board that I'm plugged into has some reverb, I'll try to put a little bit of that on there just to sound a little more thicker. But
yeah.
Typically, just the straight guitar to the looper.
Okay, do you want to show the looper off a little bit? So kind of like how
I'll give you the Jason Mraz experience.
Yeah, how you use it for a gig. So normally it's just you and vocals. So you kind of maybe like just loop guitar and then solo, or what?
Yeah, so I'll show some of the stuff that it came preloaded with, and then I'll torch you with my own playing. But so I can do just straight drum beats like this. And unfortunately, I hit the record button, so now it's just recording nothing over this. But then you can go. And then eventually it's just going to loop back into that little guitar riff there. And I keep adding on top of it. But, there's that. Yeah. There's 3 minutes later. So you could do little stuff like that, which is cool. But what I like to do when I'm home alone and nobody's watching is put on the little loop channel. So go like this. This is like a little salsa beat. No, wait. I think this is like the jazz. Oh, shit.
There you go.
Coming in hot. Jazz. Yeah. Just do a little stupid stuff on top of that, you know? So it's kind of fun to entertain yourself, but in a live setting, I would never really use those because that's boring. I don't think people want to sit there and watch you do that for very long. And if you're out there listening and you do that, stop. I'm not gonna justify you doing it.
Just get a loop and just jam over it.
Just learn more songs.
Yeah, no, that thing's pretty cool. And it also has an auxiliary in, so I guess you could have a separate like.
You could have 2 guitars. You could have a guitar and a mic if you wanted. Yeah. And you can also have 2 separate outputs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool. But I never take it that far.
You just go into mono and out mono. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got all sorts of heat coming from this thing. But the problem is I also play a half step down. And this is all obviously keyed for standard.
Yeah. So
I have to move everything up, which is weird. And it's all like very A heavy stuff. So if I'm trying to play an A, it just doesn't sound good compared to it. So I never really get to play with those in front of people. But, you know, if you're looking for a fun little tool to either use at pleasure or at work, I like this pedal.
Nice. What about some of the looping capabilities that you use for like live performance?
So I'll give you a sample of something that I would loop at any show. But it's cool because a lot of people do that, like, I forget, it's like Gabriel and Rodrigo thing where...
you snap
they like,
smacking.
I don't do that. It's pretty tacky. But there are ways to implement that in a non-douchey way, and I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
Yeah, we need to learn how to not be douchey. So I gotta... Here we go. So this is just guitar 1 going in. So now it's going to have a couple extra guitars on top of that. You hear that one ring out, right? You can do that on top of everything if you want to. But I like to add a little rhythm into it. So right now it's just playing. It's not recording anything. I can play, and that's not going to ruin it.
Yeah.
If I step on it again, it'll come back on and start recording. So I step on it, and I have to have intention. It also helps if you step on it. Did not step on it that time. Here we go. So now you got a little bit of like a snare sound, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody likes to punch their guitar, and they go to get their bass.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something, and I'm not going to show them something because I don't want them to know this. Keep punching holes in your guitars, dummy.
There you go. I'm gonna blow the lid off of it. You're kind of like hitting your thumb against the bridge.
Yeah, so, okay, I guess we're going to let the secret out.
It's good.
The pickup in most acoustic guitars...
The tone jerk's got to learn the tricks.
Gotta learn this. The pickup for most acoustic guitars is underneath the bridge. So it's not even like a mic usually. It's just a real pickup.
And that's like one of the strongest parts of the guitar anyways, because it's holding all the strings.
Right. So just tapping on it like that will give you a nice bassy sound without putting a hole in your guitar. Somebody out there is probably going, it's going to break your input or whatever, but it's a lot cheaper to replace a pickup in an acoustic guitar than to get the entire face of your guitar redone.
Yeah.
So I guess you've learned the secret now, people out there listening.
Go.
But another fun thing you can do with the guitar input is this. We're recording.
It's the ambient stuff.
Let us undo the scream. And that's another thing. If you play around with this long enough, you'll learn you can undo recordings. So if you mess up a lead or something, just undo that shit. But you have to kind of stop between each element that you input because otherwise it's going to start doing a thing.
It's good. And then you'll start doing like solo and stuff like that over it.
Yeah, so I'd go like this. So that's how you would use, or how I would use the pedal.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, no, that totally makes it worth it. And if you're adding onto a show, like a cool intro or even just like a, not intermission kind of thing, but it's like, you know, like in between songs, like kind of make it fun.
Right. Yeah, because I don't take, like I said, I don't take many breaks when I play. So if I do take a break, I still want there to be something going on instead of me having to walk off stage. So I'll give people a break from me singing and telling jokes.
Just kind of building something, yeah.
And I'll just, spend like 5 minutes max just doing a loop or something and then go back into a song.
Cool. So I was thinking of other things that you could add to a board. And like modulation is something that's pretty popular. Like, do you ever think of like, you know...
I listen to Angels, bro.
Yeah. So we have the Southampton. So we have the chorus going.
Oh yeah,
there you hear 80s.
If we're gonna go 80s,
I think that sounds cool. Maybe I'm just like really bad.
Totally no.
Like,
I mean,
I'm
effects sound cool, but
be like, would that ever add to a show for you, or you'd be like
only for messing around? Because I don't know any songs that actually like would use it.
Or would
like,
you,
and I
you-
don't write songs
you
with
would never like play a
effects
song
in
and then
mind.
like, oh, okay, well, have just like chorus and like maybe strum an acoustic or strum the acoustic just like for like instead of strumming, like, sorry, in a rhythm, you just kind of hold them out for each like whole notes or something like that.
I'm sure if I go back and like
Figure out.
listen to my recording stuff, because when I record stuff, like I work with people who are way smarter than me, and they'll put effects on like background guitars or whatever.
Okay.
So if I wanted to like really thicken out the sound and have like a second guy playing acoustic guitar behind me or something, I'd probably have him use the same effects that were on there. But like I don't try to do that to myself, because with just one guitar, I think it like muddies the water a little bit.
You're like, this isn't gonna like add too much.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear me sing songs about my butt over that. But I also, in my mind, I always thought like using an acoustic guitar through pedals would somehow break something. Like,
oh really?
Like if you plug it in to a pedal like this, it would like overheat the system. Like, I don't know, I'm just dumb. So it's interesting to see that like it don't break nothing. You could try it.
It doesn't sound cool. Actually, it sounds cool, but it would never work.
I'm a techno cowboy.
A common one would be reverb. This is a spring reverb. I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, see,
so
reverb
well.
is what I use on.
Yeah,
like
so-
things,
Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less.
Yeah, I always go light on it, but I mean, reverb is like salt. Everybody has their limit, you know?
Yeah, it's like
Some people love to just open the cap and just.
just a salt mountain. But yeah, that one's easy. Or delay is, I don't know. To me, I'm like delay and reverb always go hand in hand. It's like salt and pepper.
See, and that's like lead stuff. That's like if you're going to play notes compared to chords. Yeah. I feel like. Maybe not so much the reverb. Reverb sounds really good with the, chords and stuff, but like delay, like. Sounds weird, but if you go. Sounds like you're in an amphitheater or something.
One that I don't think will sound good is fuzz, but I think we should do fuzz with acoustic guitar because why the hell not?
Absolutely.
All right.
I think
Maybe that doesn't work, but it's a cool idea. It's fun.
after experimenting, I think I understand more why acoustic guitars and electric guitars are different. You get the tone of an acoustic guitar, not just through how the guitar is built or how guitar is shaped or whatever. It's also kind of how you play it. You can have those long open chords where you play all the strings and you hear all the strings, or you can do like just the whatever. And everybody with a guitar can do that. But with the acoustic guitar compared to an electric guitar, you're going to have less like electronic like leveling, I feel like. So, you really get the different, like you get a loud or you get a low, or you can get the palm mute or you can get the non-palm mute. And that's kind of like where the tone of an acoustic guitar goes.
And even like playing the guitar, even just tapping on the guitar makes a difference. Even just like say, if you were, like you kind of wearing some stuff on your wrist could affect your playing, and that could hit the
Totally.
guitar.
I use these rubber wristbands not just to make me look awesome, but I use them as a stopper instead of using my hand meat.
Yeah. And that's like, a big thing with acoustic guitar. I don't know. I mean, I needed to play my acoustic more. I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to throw some pedals at you, but let's,
Yeah. For me, reverb, maybe a little delay, some chorus, a little echoey stuff. That's what works best on guitars, like acoustic guitars, but like any kind of distortion or fuzz or whatever, it takes you right out. And I've seen people do it live too, like where they have it dialed into where it's like, it's not a weird sound. Like it sounds like a distorted acoustic guitar, but it's just like, it takes you way out to see a guy like playing a cowboy guitar, making Metallica sounds.
Yeah. You're like,
Like Johnny Cash never did it. So
yeah,
that's my rule.
All right, let's get into another topic. What do you say?
Let's do it.
So put the guitars away. We're here. We're going to chop it up. So this is kind of a loose one. I kind of want to just pick your brain. You are learning a lot of songs and to cover for your gigs and stuff like that, but you're also writing songs. You're working on an album. How do you, like, are you still learning new music? Like, are you teaching yourself new songs for your gigs? Are you kind of maybe like I have my 20 or whatever, and you just keep it that way, and you're trying to add on your own originals, or you just like kind of whatever like is inspiring you, like, oh, I like that song, I want to learn it. Like to me, I'm like, I very, very rarely ever want to learn a song. We do it for the band if we have a gig where it's like 80s night. You're doing pop punk night. Learn a pop punk emo cover. I'm like,
I don't need to cover that. I write that shit.
Yeah, which is like you can play mostly originals and learn 3 or 4 pop punk songs. Cool. 3 or 4 80s songs doing your pop punk Playing Without a Pilot style.
Let's learn a Cure cover.
And yeah, and they're fun, and it's cool to when I learn a cover, because I'm like, oh, you can kind of get a different feel, and maybe like you're hitting different vocal melodies that you wouldn't normally do. You're playing different chords than you normally would, different structures. So for you, you're kind of not just in your bedroom doing it. You're out there playing the whole, my music, this cover, I'm making my own way of this. And so I don't know. I wanted to pick your brain. Loose topic. I didn't announce it great, but let's just bat that ball.
Loose topic. No, I think kind of my approach to it is the same way that many of us just kind of come up learning music. It's like we all started playing guitar, learning other people's songs anyway, right? Like I've never had lessons and I've never done any of that stuff. Like I literally one of the Blink 182 students, everybody just learns Enema and then they learn a Green Day album.
Learning that
you kind of like level up through your pop punkness. But I feel like that mentality is kind of like carried through to everything. Like I still have to do covers and stuff for like the bar gigs. So I do as much that I think I like push it to the limit, really. Like a lot of people
push it to the limit.
A lot of people have like a standardized list that everybody kind of plays the same songs off of. And I'm guilty of playing a few of those songs, but I try to steer away from that stuff because there's still like good music out there that people like and maybe forgot about, So most of the stuff that I learn is stuff that I've got interest in. I never try to just be like everybody everywhere plays No Diggity. I don't know that song. Don't care to know that song. So I'm not going to put that time into it. But same time, maybe people know a random like B-side Green Day song or something, but that just nobody plays it. So it kind of falls to the background.
Yeah.
I like those songs. So I'll bring that kind of stuff up as like my covers. And I don't typically learn a song if I'm not going to play it live, so I don't worry about what's like the flavor of the week or whatever, people are recommending out there. I just kind of, if I want to listen to a song, I'll most likely have listened to it 1,000 times anyway. So I just learn it. Yeah. And then I just throw it into the set list, and I treat the cover gigs somewhat like original gigs. I try to string songs together that, I can play. This one ends in G, this one starts in G. So I just string together like a live original band would, but then I give it my own spin.
You still make it like a set, not just like I'm just plowing through songs.
Yeah, and I don't have a set list either, but I definitely try to like tell a little bit of story with the stuff that I do, So when I'm learning stuff, I just pick songs that I like, and I obviously don't go for the weird like punk stuff that I don't think anybody's gonna know.
You're not gonna go like deep obscure cuts.
Yeah, if I'm gonna learn a song, unless it's like a song that like has influenced me like down to my core. There's a few songs that I play for myself that I don't play shows because nobody's gonna know them. Fuck them. But like I loved that song, so I learned it. But most of the stuff, like if I'm gonna like sit down and learn a song, it's something that I hope people will recognize, maybe not know, but they'll go, "Oh, I know that band" or whatever. And something that entertains myself, because I'm ultimately going to be the one that plays it 1,000 times. They're going to hear it once. So if you don't like it, give me 3 more minutes and I'll play a song you do know. Yeah. But I feel like because I never had lessons and I've never sat down and really tried to learn that side of music, my musicology comes from learning other people's music and experimenting with the chords that they use and stuff like that. So when I do cover gigs or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just learning the whole way, and then that kind of influences what I'm writing, but not so much because I try not to be so like influenced. Like I don't want people to, unfortunately, you're always going to be able to be related to somebody else, and for me it's always Blink and Green Day, which is cool because that's what I want to be, like whatever. But I don't sit down and go like, well, what would Blink 182 do? Like it's just really very much my personality showing through stuff.
Yeah. So. Are you ever, I don't know, maybe this is one thing because you're still in control of a lot of what you do, but I'm like, would you ever like play songs that you know you don't like, but they get a good crowd response?
I've done it. I've definitely done it. Like when I was younger in the scene, yeah.
Like, I'm playing a Friday night. I got a lot of walk-ins. I kind of want them to stick around. I'm going to bust out these ones. I'm going to bust out the, Bruno Mars or the Jason Mraz or whatever is like,
yeah, there have been a few songs that have been like,
what are some of those bad boys?
Bruno Mars is one of them. You nailed it. But Bruno Mars isn't so popular anymore. So
I like Bruno Mars.
Yeah, no, like if I were to bust that song out again, I'm sure people in the bar would be like, oh, it's Bruno Mars. But like when I learned it was "Marry You" by Bruno Mars, that song was still on the radio.
Yeah,
and then it was kind of like this song was kind of the turning point for me, where it was like, yeah, it was hot for a little while, but just like every other song, like eventually something else replaces it. And what do I want to do? Do I want to be chasing a constant repeating cycle of like songs that bum me out and I have to learn a new one like 15 minutes later because there's a remix of it or something? Or would I rather like, maybe dig into my own well of personal knowledge and be like, that song's been around for like 15 years and people still know it,
Yeah.
Maybe that's more what I'm interested in. Maybe like the classic rock.
Classics, yeah. Classic rock. Like Green Day's classic rock.
Green Day, Blink, they're all classic rock now, 25 years.
Yeah. No, that's one thing. I'm like, okay, sometimes like we will learn covers and stuff like that, ironically, just to throw them in. Cause I'm like, and people, when they hear them, they're like, oh shit. Cause they know that song. Like we cover, You're the One That I Want from Grease, the movie. And then we do, Phil Collins, it's like a Supremes song that he did. And we do a cover of that. And, we very rarely will cover because it's like in our genre. We're not going to like do Green Day or Sum 41 or Blink or something like that, just because. We get it, you guys.
I don't know. And this may sound a little pretentious. Like when I learn a song, I don't consider myself like covering it. I consider it like becoming a part of my set, and I play it my style, my way. It sounds like me, even though like you could be like, yeah, that sounds really similar to how they play it. Like if you were to take me playing a song and like a recorded live version of the band playing a song, or even just like the recorded version off the CD, they're going to be starkly different. So like, I don't even try to fake it to the people where I'm like, this is a cover where I'm trying to sound like so-and-so. Like everything I do is going to sound like me throughout whatever. So I just try to play stuff that people recognize. Like I don't think of them as cover. I just think of like as recognizable songs. So like I do a lot of like commercial jingles or like movie theme songs or just weird shit that like I know people will recognize, but I also think maybe other bands aren't already doing. Because I feel like that's kind of the circle that my level of musician
especially
people are at. Like everybody's kind of playing the same stuff anyway. And if you're going to break through that, the only way to do that is through like just being yourself. Like
if people are going to bars in that, say heavy areas or PB, so the beach towns and downtown San Diego are big for having a lot of like acoustic artists, solo artists coming down there and playing for live music, for the live music ambience.
And it seems kind of like
you don't want to see the same shit.
It also seems like the guys who are playing the acoustic stuff in my circuit, if they have a big following, they already had that fault. Like they were just friends. Like it's mostly just friends coming out to support their friends, which is awesome and great. You need to have like support of your friends, but there's not really like a scene to build off of playing everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
So like if the musician is interchangeable, then I feel like there should be an interchangeable crowd, but there's not. Those people are just kind of coming out to support their friends. I want to steal people away from them, and I want to like build an audience. So the only way to do that is to kind of stick out,
Yeah. So you can be like, oh, that guy played these, maybe covers of Alkaline Trio and Green Day and some.
If you play on an original night, you don't have to worry about the other band playing your song, right?
Yeah.
But if you play 4 singer-songwriter acoustic guys back to back, like you give everybody an hour set and you just let them play covers or originals, most of them are going to go to covers, and you're going to be watching them watch the other guy and like ticking off songs in their head like, fuck, he just played Tennessee Whiskey. He just played Sweet Home Alabama. I'm just like, there's knocking songs off
their set list. Can't do the Google Dolls tonight.
It's the same thing in the DJ world, right? Like if you walk in as a DJ and you're playing stuff that was already in the house mix, people have probably A, already heard that song before, B, they're not going to differentiate you from the house mix, which is like 98% of DJs. But there's the same problem in the acoustic world, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Like everybody's just kind of like a playlist at this point. So I'm just trying to be
unique in your own thing.
Myself, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's your approach to? I mean, how often do you learn new songs? I'm finding myself like the last time I'm relearning covers that we did years ago, so we can play them now, just to have those in our
Like
bag.
just in stick or whatever.
Yeah, that or like it's like oh yeah, we used to play that with like our old drummer, and then with Brian now, it's like oh we never played that. Why don't we? It's just because like we you get in you're in a different mindset to where like maybe at that time we were like stagnant with writing songs or we were over our originals and we just like let's play some covers and stuff like that. And it was fun to bring those out because for an originals band playing covers, they can be really fun because you play a couple of those and then people who are in the bar have never seen you before can get into it if you do a good job of it. And if you can make it maybe your own thing and then they catch on by the chorus that like, oh, that's that song. It's kind of fun to see that reaction. Like we cover hot water music, but we do that and I don't sound like Chuck Reagan at all. And we play those songs and people are like, oh, you did your own thing with it. That's a lot of fun. It's cool. It's like, and people are like, I kind of liked your version a little bit better. It's more pop punk and upbeat and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, hey, I don't think it's better, but it's cool that we did that. And that's only one of the main reasons why we do it. It's just to kind of jab the crowd. I'm like, hey, pay attention to us.
Yeah, it's a great way to get attention is to play a cover. But yeah, you should always try to do it in your own way, unless you're just going to be a tribute act. The only time I think that it's appropriate to like note for note repeat a song is
if you're a tribute.
Yeah. And my band is working on doing, I'll let you listeners in on a little secret. We're working on covering Dookie. We're going to do Dookie song by song, cover to cover.
Yeah.
And even now, like, we're not completely done working on it yet, but I would say it sounds like 85% like a tribute band, but still there's like that 15% that like we just cannot avoid like sounding like us, you know? So, and I don't try to shy away from that. We're not trying to be a tribute act. We're just, learning some songs. But yeah, if you want to be like, if you want to take somebody else's music and make that your meat and potatoes, like I'm making my money off these guys' songs, you owe them that much to be like, I've learned their song the way they play it.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just, I play covers because that's what bars will hire you for. If I could just play all original shows, you'd see 4 hours of original music. But, unfortunately, bar managers who don't even listen to songs or music or the guy playing in their bar think that everybody would just rather hear No Diggity on repeat.
Yeah. How do you like, or how often do you add like a new song to your set list? Let's say if like, today's my, because you're kind of, I want to say, you're self-employed. You control your own destiny. You're not like going in. I'm like, it's Wednesday, got to go at 9:30. Like, okay, so like, do you like really regiment your days of like, okay, these are booking email hours. These are going out to play hours. Today, you're coming here, listen to my drunk ass talk.
Yeah.
Hey, let's plug up acoustic to pedals, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah, why not?
And you're like, all right, well, I can spend a couple hours doing that. Or like, are you like teaching yourself songs, or do you? I'm like, I guess I'm kind of like picking your brain. I'm like, I never learn new songs. I have no real go get 'em attitude to pick up my guitar to learn a cover. I'm like, what makes you do that? How often do you do that? How do you just decide? Because there's so many songs that you like. You have a very big musical, field of vision that you're like, I like all this stuff. So how do you narrow it down? When do you narrow it down? How much is too much?
You know me, like I'm opposite ends of the spectrum at the same time. Like I'm a very obsessive ADD person.
Yeah.
I get very, very like into something. I zone in on it, and then like a couple weeks later, I'm over it, and I go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But with music, it's not that way. Like it's always been my thing where it's like if you put a guitar in my hand, I'll diddle and I'll do things. Like it's not like if you put a pencil in my hand, I'm going to write you a story or whatever. Like if I'm feeling it that day, I'll do that. But like music is never a thing where I'm like, I don't want to do it, or I don't want to like do something with it. Now, some days I want to do original, someday I want to do cover, but I don't try to like have a solid, concrete like method when it comes to music, because I feel like if you start doing that, you put yourself in a box, and then you start like, for some people being in a box is good. That's how they, build their following, they build their sound, their brand, whatever. I'm not trying to have that. Like I'm not trying to be a personality or a this or that. Like I'm just literally doing it because there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
So I don't think of it that way. I just, if I want to learn a song, I go out and learn it. And some days I'll sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to work on covers, and I'll play covers for like 15 minutes, and then I'll get struck with like a cool chord and be like, oh, I'm going to work on that. And then it's 8 hours of an original song I'm working on now.
Yeah.
So I don't have so much of a system. I feel like when I'm proto BJ, like when I am what I'm kind of tacky in the way that like I write down goals, and I do like I'll brick down like a calendar and do like a step-by-step thing. And I feel like if there was a perfect me, it would be me that follows the schedules that I write, but I never follow the schedules. Like I write them and then I just feel guilty all week because I didn't do it. But I feel like if I were to get a little more...
The supervisor, BJ, and the...
Yeah, you knew me as an employee. I'm a terrible employee. You should see me as a boss. Even worse. And now I'm both for myself.
Yeah, nah, man, it's cool. Come in late. I'll take care of it later.
Yeah. But I try to always just change things up because until I find the way that, I feel is the right way, I just do all the ways. But so I will tell myself like there's time to do this, do that, and I try to stick to it. And most of the time I do. But as far as like, do I have to learn like a certain amount of new songs a day or a month or whatever? And when I was filling 3 hours, for me, it was always like the gig kind of defined what I was doing. When I was playing little original shows, didn't fucking matter. We just wrote songs about girls and butts, like whatever. Yeah. And if we played a cover, it was because it made one of us laugh, or we thought it would make the audience laugh, or it was Blink-182. Yeah. That was it. So coming into this like new kind of like, it's a total shift going from like an original punk band to like the singer-songwriter acoustic guy type. And I've tried to like bring as much of it over as I can, like the punk side, but there is still that element of like, okay, you're playing covers. For myself, I tried to fill 3 hours first. I didn't worry about like what I was playing. I was just like, give me 3 hours of music.
Yep.
And then I started working out the songs that I could tell like, A, people did not like or didn't recognize enough to care about or whatever, and trying to put more songs in. Not necessarily like thinking like, this is going to get them, but like just change it out. Like if I know that song's kind of a dud, I'll play a different one.
How are you, is it like, how are you kind of gauging what sticks? Like, being the only person up there, are you gauging a lot of crowd response? So they're just like, people being like, all right, let's go to the next part, bro.
I've gotten really bad about like not thinking about what I'm playing or when I'm playing it and just really watching the audience, which I guess isn't like bad, but it can be kind of, because sometimes I'll be playing a song and feel completely detached from the music and just looking at the people in the back of the house like, okay, they're playing Jenga right now. Like
what are they doing? Pay attention.
But during the next song, I'll see those same people like look over and start singing, And for me, it was always like, again, I'm not trying to find songs that people like because I know that there are people who like the stuff I like, and maybe not everybody out there is like, I like very niche music, but like stuff like Weezer, Sublime, Blink, Green Day, those are all going to be songs people can recognize, and you're going to see more reaction from those songs.
Yeah.
Whereas if I play like a Alkaline Trio song, you might find every once in a while somebody's like, hey, Alkaline Trio.
Hey, that's my jam, yeah.
And I used to make sure that there was like 6 Alkaline Trio songs in every set, and it was partially because those were just the songs that I'd already learned and like I needed to fill 3 hours with.
And one of your bands you like and stuff.
Yeah. And I will still put them in there and I still have them on my like request list. But now that I've fine-tuned the set a little more, I've got more stuff that people will recognize and that I don't feel like a sellout for playing. And Alkaline Trio is now just like an option. It's like a satellite song. Mm-hmm. I still play it at home every day, but if I don't get to play Every Thug Needs a Lady in front of a crowd, I don't cry.
Yeah. What about... how are you listening to like the radio or Spotify playlist to find the songs that you're like, okay, I know we talked about like, like, oh, I want to play songs that you already like, but I'm like, maybe the ones that I'm like, okay, fuck, I should throw a banger for other people, but not for me. Or if you like playing a certain club, because I know playing like Pacific Beach is different than playing downtown. It's different than playing Chula Vista. There's like little pockets in San Diego of different types of music, and maybe you're playing...
Right, you go to OB, you're going to hear white boy reggae. That's just what you're going to hear.
Yeah, go to OB. That's a big one too. And you play down there. You play East County sometimes. I'm like, are you really changing your set for the bar? Be like, okay, I'm playing here next month, and I know OB is a very reggae heavy thing. I'm going to learn more Sublime. I'm going to learn more Bob Marley. Are you like finding out what are the hits that they're playing? Or are you kind of just like, I already kind of can gauge that, and these are songs that are okay for me.
Yeah, I try to have a song for every situation. I like prefer to not be one thing or the other.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not like an overnight thing, and it definitely wasn't me in the beginning, but I feel like now that I've kind of worked out songs that are kind of like just universal, recognizable, easy to digest songs, it doesn't really matter what you're playing as long as, you can get a couple people into it. So I do have like, if I'm in OB, I'm going to play a couple Sublime songs, maybe closer to the beginning, but I'm still going to play Johnny Cash, and I'm still going to play, like Ice Cube and stuff like that, because people aren't so one-minded anymore. And it used to be that way. It used to be like, this club is specifically this. And you see a few dinosaur clubs holding on that mentality, brick by brick. You have a great venue, and you're not filling it with everybody who could be there. You just want metal or you want rock, and that's fine. That's cool. But if you show me a person who's like, I only listen to metal, you can find those guys.
Yeah.
But nowadays you'll have like a dude that like wears a like Slayer, Megadeth, or whatever shirt and can still talk to you about the Lumineers, because like people just kind of like now through Pandora and a lot of these like streaming sites that like, if you're not paying for it specifically to go out and hear what you want to hear, you're going to be put into a playlist where you're going to hear all sorts of shit,
Or it's like, through Spotify and stuff like that, it's easy to listen to whatever you want. Because like, I pay for Spotify, and you can just, I'm going to listen to this today.
I feel like also with Spotify, I've noticed myself not feeling as guilty listening to things. Like when I was a kid, if I'd go to like, FYE or Suncoast Music, the last two music stores I could ever think of, I would go in and like, I'd be in the CD section. I'd be afraid to go to like the pop section or like the Latin or the world or the whatever section, like specifically because like I would feel like there was judging eyes, even though there's like nobody in the store. I just feel like there's like a shame in like breaking your norm, I guess, until you've done it enough where you're like, fuck it, I don't care.
And then even just like, dipping your foot. I'm like, oh, I like that one song.
You don't want to be the guy wearing a Misfits shirt, picking up like a Britney album going like, oh, what's this sound like, But whereas at Spotify, like nobody can see what you're listening to unless like you legit like share your playlist with people. So you might see a lot more like someone you expect to listen to one thing, listening to kind of everything. Yeah. So I feel like people have evolved a little bit, not so much where it's like everybody should play everything. Genres are dead, but
it's becoming less of a thing, which is cool. Like people are less genre specific because you're like, oh, I like punk. Well, you like pop punk though. That's shittier than this type of punk.
And you're always going to find that one asshole who wants to hear what they want to hear, and whatever you play is not good until you play what they want to hear. I don't play for those people.
Yeah, I don't care about most of those people aren't like, as fun anyways.
I had a dude screaming at me one time because I didn't play Steel Panther, but I kept making jabs about it because he was like, do you know any Steel Panther? I was like, nah, man, I'm sorry. And he's like, I play the song, Steel Panther. All right, here's a Steel Panther song. And then I played Sublime. And he literally came up in my face, was like, you're a jerk off. Fuck you. Like shaking his fist in my face. I'm like, number one, where the fuck is security? Number two, like, do you think that's going to make me like put down my shit and learn a Steel Panther song for you? Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's always a good one. It's like, oh, I'll play this one. I'm like, oh, we're playing that one next. And then you play something completely
play an original song, and they're just like, what?
What the fuck, man?
Be like, well, that song was inspired by.
That's cool. All right, well, we can wrap this one up. Yeah, I just wanted to, pick your brain a little bit about covers and learning, maybe that whole, balance of original music and learning covers
Short answer, yes. Learn covers, work on shit you want to hear. It's going to only make your original stuff better and easier to write. And also, if you're in a position where you need to play covers for a living, don't be afraid to play shit you like, but just think about what people will know. Like, you don't have to be the guy that's going to influence the world with your music.
Yeah.
You could still, maybe because everybody's playing Green Day, learn a Green Day song, but don't learn the Green Day song everybody's playing.
Yeah, they have a huge catalog. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's good little tip for you there. All right, we're gonna wrap this one out. So thank you, BJ. Thank you so much for coming back on your episode number 2 and your episode number 89. So where can people find you online?
I would like to direct you first to www.mannequinvanityrecords.com/BJ. That's like the official site. Mm-hmm. I'm too poor for my own website, so I just kind of fishtail off my label. But that's where I put all the information as far as like upcoming shows or releases. We're going to be putting out a re-release of CV Soundtrack, my first album, specifically there. So go there first. Other than that, I'm very active on social media. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pornhub, JDate, Black People Meet, Bumble, Grindr, Plenty of Fish, all that. Just look up BJ Jezbera. I'm the only one.
There you go. You're also Spotify,
Yes.
iTunes, and
all that stuff.
Like, yeah,
Google Play, Apple Music.
Yeah. So you can,
LimeWire.
Yeah, check them out. Get some of those tunage, and then keep an ear out for, I guess, the new album. The wheels are turning again. You're gonna get that cranked out.
We're gonna put out a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a big mess at the end. So just beware.
Just follow the breadcrumbs. So just want to say thank you guys for tuning in to the show. And if you guys like what you hear, you guys can follow along on social medias at Facebook. Just search the Tone Jerks, and we got a group. You can join it. BJ, you're not in there. You should join.
I'm in there. What are you talking about?
Now you're like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? Anyways, besides Facebook, we're on Instagram at the Tone Jerks. You guys can follow along. Also, be sure to check out Sound Rise Pro on Instagram. So at Soundrise Pro. And man, I am butchering their name. soundrisepro.com, and use that promo code JERKS for 15% off. And if you guys really like what you hear, you guys can help support the show on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. But if you guys double down, you guys get an extra episode for just $2 a month. And we wanted to give you guys a huge shout out just for supporting the show. So I got a list, and I'm reading it this time. I got a listy list. So I'm gonna check it twice. So big thanks to Aaron Taylor, Abe Newman, Adam Rohr from the Let 'Em Hear podcast, Alvaro Viramontes, Andrew Walsh, I should probably say it like Kyle does, Brett Alexander, Co Schneider from the Flip and Flavor podcast, Colin Smith, Doug King, and Doug again, Digger from Fatfoot Effects, Jamie Davis, Jason Fuzzmonger, Jim Bowers, Johnny Ray, Joseph from Like My Pedals, Kevin Equitz from Equitz Guitars, Leon from Pelican Noiseworks. We used his half horse today. Bruce Banana, Matt Quine from the Fret Talk podcast, Michael Newman, you heard his music at the intro and outro of this episode, Nicholas Ogburn, Brian Nutter from Nutter Guitars, Sean Arbo from Gun Street Wiring Shop, Sean Fahey, Steve Mike from Hardly Human, Stephen Conradi, and Will Lehue from the Just Surprise Me podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, BJ. That was a mouthful. We'll see ya.
BJ and mouthful should never be said in the same sentence.
Hey now.
Hold on, I want to try something though. Hey Alexa, play BJ Jezbera.